Sag Nasty. So you moved on to Sherwood. Did you come to an understanding of being a black boy at this time? So you're right around that window of 7 years old. The next one comes at 12. What happens at that moment at 7? Did you feel different in Sherwood too?
Yeah, so when I get to Sherwood, I actually like Sherwood. I felt a
Mm-hmm.
little bit more comfortable. The kids, um, they just kind of everybody kind of did their own thing. I really have a lot of memories of I think the athletic identity of me started to come out. A lot of soccer, a lot of kickball.
I
Um,
love Sherwood.
yeah, I love Sherwood. Yeah, like
Mm-hmm.
for those that aren't familiar, Sherwood was really this 1970s like open air space. They had these little pods, so there wasn't a traditional classroom with four walls and a door. Um, they had pods, and so each pod had like four classrooms that they were all open, and then they were separated by these really tall cabinets that you get in
Oh
trouble with the teacher,
yeah.
but you could throw something over those cabinets to the other classroom. And
Wow.
so Sherwood, they looked like this spaceship with all these round discs,
Yep.
and
Mm-hmm.
everything was round. But even when it rained, they had like an amphitheater part in the middle of each pod, and so we could do
Mm-hmm.
recess break time in there. And so it shows my age a little bit, but we would play marbles um, in there, and so we would. It was great. I really enjoyed it. The Yeah, the kids didn't treat me any differently. The teachers didn't treat me any differently. I don't yeah, I don't have any negative memories of elementary school of being treated like an other or different.
I went to
You're
Sherwood for until I left in third grade, and for me, that was just an amazing elementary school. I loved it. I really loved it, and I think they did a great job too. I did have one situation that was kind of crazy, but that would be for like when I'm interviewed or something like that. But overall, I really enjoyed Sherwood a lot. Um, I have I'll use that as my first memory, and that's when I'm in what I guess first grade, and you're in fifth grade. We actually got to go to school together, which is so cool. So you used to leave the house on your own, and I would try to chase after you to the bus stop, and we rode, which kind of seems kind of crazy to be a first grader with the fifth graders, because with the bullying happened, which it was present, but because you were my brother, there was like a little bit of resistance. It felt like in your year, the bullying was more intense, like than my year. We weren't really allowed to like bully to the extent it seemed like your guys seemed more aggressive for some reason. I don't know why. But yeah, we got to ride the bus together, and you were a crossing guard. Remember this?
I
This is what's called,
vaguely
right?
remember that. Wow.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
so cool. You vaguely remember that
yeah.
because for me,
Vaguely remember that.
you had a uniform, and so for me,
Right.
this was very stand. It stood out to me as like my brother has a special position, and
Hmm.
before all the rumors of like, oh, you're crystallized little brother, there was this image I had as like, oh, he's not just and not that he's not just because I wouldn't know what to compare you to into relativity, but I looked at you as like he has a special position. Um, I want to have a special position too. I don't know what it might be. Maybe to be honest, I was like, oh, I want to be a crossing guard, but they didn't trust me like they trusted you, and I started to understand. And like a lot of my experience, especially in elementary school, was in relativity to you. It's like, oh, why would they trust Chris but not me in this situation to be a crossing guard? And I was like, oh, when he was standing there, he was composed. I mean, with me, I wasn't necessarily hyper, but they still didn't trust me. I felt like I was a little shy too. Um, but they didn't trust me like they trusted you, and I wondered why that was, and I was a little sad, like, I'll be the crossing guard, like, well, you got to stay I don't know how many hours after school. I think it was like an hour extra. I was like, well, I don't want to do that either. I want to go home and play. So I really started to have an understanding of you as being responsible at an early age, and that kind of trend or yeah, that kind of theme carried on with you as a being a responsible person. But what were you like in regard to personality? Of course, I can't have a, a conclusion on your personality. Like quiet, you. I don't think you're outgoing by then. Like
Yeah,
you were in
I
high
was
school.
yeah, I think I was a rule follower. I was pretty chill. I remember I was around some of the class clowns. Like there were some that were a little bit, but the teachers did a good job at Sherwood. They kept us, I would say, kept us in line. I don't remember a lot of like, oh, this kid's always going, to see the principal or whatever like
Mm-hmm,
that. So
mm-hmm,
we just, I don't know, we just had fun. But I was friendly with a lot of the kids. I knew a lot, so I was social. But I remember the kickball teams, because we only could be out there just for a little bit, so the teams would stay like for almost a whole semester, and so sometimes they were stacked, and so I was a little annoyed about that we were on the often on the losing team of kickball. But
uh-huh.
um I was one of the better kids on that team, and so
Mm,
I adjusted my goals of, I didn't want to get shut out. So if I could add points to the team or get some outs, whether, make an impact on the game. I didn't really, and I still kind of carry that. I don't need to win or lose. Well, let me say it this way. I don't have to win, but I hate to lose. And so in
you're
that,
very
as long as,
competitive, right? Mm-hmm.
yeah, so I hate to lose, but I don't need to I'm not gonna cheat to win and different things like that. Like it just, if it's a close game and you lose by one or two, that's fine. But if I got blown out like 10-0, then I'm gonna be mad. So like
Yeah, yeah.
but yeah, but that's yeah. I wasn't, I don't think I wasn't in trouble a lot at school. I always remember getting good grades. Yeah, that's what I would add
I
to
got to
that.
give two shout outs. First of all, is to kickball. We played kickball in the same tradition, which is cool. Like how many years later we played kickball? I remember like that field of grass we had was just gigantic if you really think about it.
Mm-hmm.
But we were closer to the sidewalk, and I think there was a old baseball, whatever we call that, like I don't even know what you call that word anymore, but where the diamond starts, basically, like baseball diamond was there, and I think we played
Mm-hmm.
there. But I got to give a shout out to Miss Fisher because you had her too, right?
Uh, I don't know if I remember Miss Fisher. What grade did you have
Miss
her?
Fisher was the kite lady.
I remember the
Didn't you
kites.
introduce kites to the family? I thought that was you.
No, I remember the kites. I do remember the kites. I don't remember Miss Fisher. So yeah.
That's so funny. I think you introduced the kites to the family, and then later on, I won the kite contest because of you
Wow.
inspiring it. But you don't remember as much. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you introduced Miss Fisher
Mm.
to us. That's funny. Okay, she was second grade teacher.